Okay, I think we're okay. It says I have audio. Okay. This cord is going to be destroyed. Need a little hook for it. Thank you. I've been growing it for a while. Consent as far as someone that is having a subjective experience. Is it moral to use someone who maybe can't respond? I'm talking about sentient beings. Should you respect their consent? And does lack of consent equal consent? No. But it would have to be reliable consent, not just someone, even communication sometimes is just not consent. Like a child, right? Can say the words, I consent, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they are consenting to what they're doing if they don't understand what's going on, right? So you could argue that even though they could communicate, they still cannot consent. So would that still be consent? And you're welcome to come up. I also have some resources up there. Dominion is a great documentary. It talks about just the standard practices of how we use animals. And nutritionfacts.org on the studies on how to stay healthy if you care about that. Consent for sentient beings. Can I do what I want to a sentient being even if they cannot consent? They cannot tell me, yes, I'm okay with that. And what is the difference between animals and humans? Why is it okay for me to use animals but not okay to use humans? The Dawn. Okay, since you're my first guest, I need you to just be a little bit patient because I need to make sure I can hear you. Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Perfect. Is there any like white noise or anything? Like any loud
No,
noises? Okay, good.
not
Just want to make sure.
not that I can hear.
Cool. So you're over 18, right?
Yeah.
Cool. Should you respect consent?
Generally, yes.
Okay. And does lack of consent equal consent?
Does lack of consent would by definition be lack of consent, right? Am I misunderstanding that?
No, no. You are right on. You'd be surprised how many people struggle with that. They think that it is the same thing or they don't really understand. But what I mean is if someone maybe can't respond or someone doesn't really understand, can they really consent to something they don't really understand? Is it moral then to use them?
Well, I think it depends on the example, right? A child may not be able to consent to a surgery being done to them that may be necessary to help them,
Okay,
but you still do it because it's for the best, right? So you
right.
you
It's
still
in their
sometimes
best
make
interest.
decisions, right? Right. So you still sometimes make decisions because it's the right thing to do, or because you have no choice, even though someone maybe isn't necessarily able to give that consent.
Okay, I can go with that. So, what about the animals that we use? Is using them
Yeah.
for
So
our
I
benefit really in their best interest?
No, but I would draw a distinction between human life and animal life. I think even vegans draw a distinction at some point, right? Like, I don't think like a lot of vegans are going to go up in arms about like feeding a worm to their pet bird if they have one, right? So at some point,
Do you
and I'm
think
not saying
do you think that every human is exactly the same?
no.
Right. I agree. Just like there's no two humans that are the same, I think that our differences aren't reasons to oppress each other, right? We should look at our similarities. What is it that we respect in each other?
Sure. So I think we value the human experience, which can be defined by just our high level of intellect, our ability to have conscious, right? We have a hierarchy of needs that animals don't have, right? I'm going to mess up the name here, but
So,
what is it like Pavlov?
what about humans that don't have the same cognition? Say a non-sapient human, but they're sentient. Do they still
Right.
have
So
value?
right. So there is some kind of hypocrisy that goes into that thought, right? Because obviously you can have a human being.
Hypocrisy?
Right, right. Because we would say, because obviously we all say, right, we value the human experience, and we value it because of our level of cognition and our
So
level of
it's
intellect.
just hypocritic to care for humans that don't have intellect.
No, no. But so I know what argument you're most likely going to get at with the vegan thing. I would say like we still care. Like if your example is a human being that is maybe severely like mentally disabled or something, right? We still choose to care for them because people have relationships with that person.
Would
They're
you
still a
then
human.
say if there was someone that maybe is of the cognition level you speak of, doesn't have any family though, is homeless, would it be okay to exploit them?
So generally speaking, no.
Okay, I agree. Why?
So again, this is where it is kind of like almost the tribalism. We say, well, we value them because there's a human being, right? So even if we don't fully
So let me get
understand,
this straight. You don't care about an individual's capacity to suffer?
I do.
Okay, because you keep saying it's hypocritical, but I don't think you understand why we care about those individuals. It's not because we're related to them. It's because when we see them, if we were in their situation, we would want to be respected. We know they are having their own subjective experience, whether they're intelligent or not, right?
Sure, but what would be the need to like
Okay,
just
so
kill that
my
person?
point is that even though that person is not sapient like most humans, we still respect that they are having an experience and have the capacity to suffer. And it's immoral to cause someone who is having a subjective experience to suffer unnecessarily, right?
Sure,
To use them without their consent. So I'm saying that
I agree.
animals are sentient. They also are having their own subjective experience and they have the capacity to suffer. And we're using them just for pleasure. There's no necessary need for most people in the world to use animals. So why are we then subjecting a feeling being into the scariest system that we wouldn't even put our worst humans through if we don't have to?
So yeah, you can pick out really rare, kind of unique instances where a human being is just, maybe not on the same cognitive level as everyone else, but as a species, we have a significantly higher
Can I do what
cognitive,
I want to animals
like legally or morally.
morally?
Uh, yeah, I mean, original human beings, right? Like
Okay.
hunter gatherers,
So,
right? That's what
in
they did.
your perspective, do you think it's moral that I kick dogs for entertainment and pleasure?
Let me reiterate. Let me clarify that, right? I think it should be more based on need, not want, right?
Okay, so I
You,
wouldn't get exercise otherwise. This is really convenient for me. I have access to homeless dogs. Is that moral for me to use homeless dogs for kicking bags?
why would you need to kick a homeless dog?
It's the only way I can get exercise right now,
That seems pretty far fetched. Couldn't you just kick literally anything else?
right? If I can kick something else, you agree that morally it would be wrong for me to kick that dog.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you think there's something you need from animals?
Yeah.
What do you need?
Complete proteins for
No.
one.
You can get all the amino acids on plants.
And what does the infrastructure look like if you just cut off the billions of people that rely
Do you
on
think that you're
animal
that
products?
powerful that if you went vegan that you would disrupt the entire system?
No, but what you're
Okay.
advocating for is
So
everyone go vegan, right?
what I'm advocating for is for you to go vegan.
So why just me? So why? What is the
because
difference that
because
one
you can
individual?
make a difference to the animals, but you won't destroy the system. Every person that changes from omnivorous to vegan can save 100 to 300 animals a year, not demanding them to be born into existence to be used. That's huge. But you're not going to cause people that are in already in areas that are suffering from injustice, you're not going to increase their injustice if you went vegan. In fact, you going vegan would increase the availability of the vegan products and bring down the cost of vegan products. So you would be doing your part for not only the animals but your fellow man.
I'm just generally of the opinion that the options that I have as an omnivore and someone who
As an
enjoys
omnivore, I enjoy kicking dogs for exercise.
right, but that's needless abuse.
So I'm
Whereas,
telling you that since you don't need to get anything from animals, you can get everything from plants. Isn't removing someone's head, removing someone's baby, isn't that escalating the violence and the abuse?
well, it's not someone; it's an animal, right? So I
Oh, so because they're not a human, it's okay, I can do what I want. So again, it's okay that I kick dogs for exercise. I need exercise, sir. This is the only way I get exercise. Yes, I could go kick a tree. Yeah, I could go kick rocks. But this is the best way, easiest way for me to get exercise, and I enjoy it.
so again, I draw a distinction between the human experience and the animal
So it's
experience,
okay that I kick a dog for
and I
exercise.
think,
So it's
well, hold
okay I
on,
kick a dog for exercise, yes or no?
can I just finish my point, right?
Is
I
it,
think, 'cause-
can you answer my point? Can you answer my question and then you can say what you're going to say?
well, I already did. I already said no. I already said
Right.
no to
So
that
it's
when
not
we.
moral for me to cause a dog unnecessary suffering, but it's okay for you to cause a cow, a pig, and a chicken unnecessary suffering for your
Well,
pleasure. For
it
your
is
pleasure.
necessary.
For your pleasure. You don't need it. Do you shop at a grocery store?
So does
So you have
a
options. You can go to the grocery store and move your hand. You can pick up tofu, tempeh, beans, cans of beans. You have options. And I'm saying that because you have options, you don't need to demand someone's suffering. You don't need to demand someone's oppression, someone's exploitation. You're literally using someone's body for your pleasure. Just like kicking a dog is for my pleasure, right? I can kick something else for my exercise. You can eat something else for your nutrition. You don't need to use animals. You enjoy the pleasure of their bodies. Do you see how that's wrong? How that goes against your own principles? So do you think that we should respect animals' consent? The mute button's right there. So not letting you, sometimes it doesn't let you.
yeah. So can I ask you a question?
I guess.
Are you interested in having a conversation, or is your goal more to just like
I'm here to talk about the animals and their rights to live. And I'm kind of bored with you saying that it's your right to lick their insides without their consent. Because you keep saying, I'm better, I'm bigger. You're basically saying might makes right, and that's immoral, right? If someone bigger and stronger came along and wanted to munch on you, I'm sure you'd try to stop them, right? You don't want that to happen. If they didn't need to, they should stop. Toaster fork. Are you over 18?
Yes.
Okay. Should you respect consent?
Yeah.
All right, on. Do you think lack of consent, someone not being able to respond or someone that can't understand, do you think lack of consent equals consent?
Absolutely not.
Right on. All right. So I figure that you agree this for humans. How do you feel about the animals we use?
Yeah, I do agree. It is like we should find like an alternative to eat, like just so we can get, because there are some plants that have like more proteins than meat. Um, but yeah, definitely like we probably should stop eating animals. But there is like the other side. Some people I know can't digest vegetables, so it's like, what are they supposed to eat? You know what I mean?
Are you one of those people?
I am not, but I know a
Okay.
lot of people who do.
Yeah, I mean, I know people that have different types of necessities. They have certain things going on with their digestive tract. I would say reach out to a dietitian. And if you genuinely want to be vegan, just say, hey, I want to be vegan. Please help me go vegan. And if you need free access to a dietitian, Google vegan challenges. They give you free access to dietitians if you sign up for their challenges. And you can ask them directly, hey, I'm worried about getting my iron. I can't eat spinach or something. I don't know. They can
Exactly.
help you find those solutions. Another option, though, is I do a combination of Chat GPT and Cronometer. Obviously, Chat GPT makes mistakes, but it can make up meal plans for you. And then you can throw it in this free app called Cronometer. And Cronometer breaks down the total nutritional value all the way down to the little minuscule minerals on what it is that you're eating. I mean, you have to take the time to put it in there, but if you're, concerned, it's just about getting a habit. In about a month, you'll have your habits down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Most of my diet just includes white rice and eggs. We have a bunch of chickens who are just like cage free and grass. We
Yeah.
have a bunch of grass that they eat and they roam around, but we got to
What
keep an
happens
eye
when
out
a what
because
happens when a chicken's egg
like animal
production decreases? What
that
happens when
doesn't really happen. We have a lot of eggs.
Okay, how long do your chickens live?
I don't know what you. Oh, well, none of them died yet. So,
Oh,
and
okay.
it's
So
been
this is
like
your first time.
almost 6 years. So, yeah,
Okay.
it's been like
So
6 years.
chickens
They've
can
had
live to be
them for
about
a while.
8. So what happens when you start to lose chickens? Are you
Okay.
going to buy more chickens?
Yeah, because we don't
Okay.
have any males, so
Do
they
you
can't fertilize
Okay,
any of the eggs.
exactly. Where are the males? Do you understand that evolution has made it so that for every female egg or for every female chicken, excuse me, there's a male.
Mm.
So where are
Well,
all the
yeah,
males?
they're not. We don't have any males. We only
Yeah, where
have
are
the.
they? Where are they?
I don't know. They're probably getting used for meat chickens, to get eaten.
That's
I
not
feel
what
like they're
happens. That's not
being.
what happens. So you should watch the documentary Dominion. What happens to male chicks is they're ground alive on their first day of life. They can't sex the eggs or the chicks until they hatch. So there's workers at the hatcheries that are looking at the butts of the chicks, or it's just their colors. They've been bred now to have different colors between the genders. They throw the males down one chute and the females down another. They go on these conveyor belts, and the males go right into a blender.
It sounds awful. It's like we're factorizing them. That is fucking
So
awful.
even small farms do this. If someone is making their own chickens, they're going to have too many males. And it's a waste of resources and time and space to house all these males because they don't grow the same flesh like meat chickens. So a lot of
Yeah.
them are tied off in bags till they suffocate. They're crushed. They're drowned. They still do this on small farms, big farms. Male chicks are a waste. And not only that, inside the hatcheries where the parents are, it's just this big grape factory. You have all these female hens being graped into their feces, being
Ew.
gang graped, in fact. And that's how you get your eggs from those stores. And
Yeah,
and I
that's
mean,
why it's like. Sorry, I didn't mean to
no,
cut you
no,
off.
no, you go ahead. I've been talking for a bit. Eggs are terrible.
Yeah, that's kind of part of the reason. My mom, she was like super heavy vegan. She wanted her own chickens. She grew up on a farm, so she had like
Yeah.
a lot to. She experienced it firsthand, basically, and
So
it's she
let's
didn't
say
like
let's
it.
say let's say they don't even macerate the males, okay? Let's just focus on the females that are laying the eggs. Their original ancestor is called the red jungle fowl, and they only laid 13 eggs a year. We've now bred them so they lay one egg a day, if not at least a couple times a week, right? That's their
Yeah,
menstruation. So that strains their body. You have to make sure they eat, a decent amount of like calcium, because it's like, I'm pretty sure each
Mhm.
egg takes 10% of their calcium.
Yeah, we have oyster shells that we give our chickens to strengthen the shells. So
Yeah, see,
I
if you could just feed them back the eggs.
Mom isn't vegan anymore. Yeah, she's still vegan. She's on a vegan diet.
A
Sorry,
plant-based
somebody.
diet.
Yeah, plant based. Yeah, mostly rice and eggs. No, 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 not a
Eggs
lot
are
of
not
meat.
eggs are not vegan. They're
Yeah,
not
I mean,
vegan.
it really.
Even
Yeah,
sanctuaries that take care of chickens
right.
don't eat
Not.
their eggs.
Yeah, sorry, not vegan, vegetarian. There's, I don't
Okay.
know. There's a.
Yeah,
Yeah.
vegetarians. So the issue between the two, first off, veganism is not a diet. It just happens that
It's
we
like
eat a plant-based diet. We are against the exploitation of the animal. So even in milk and eggs, animals are being exploited.
abused.
Well, just
Yeah.
exploited. Even if you take care of someone, I could have a human slave in my basement, right? Just one human slave. I take really good care of them. They have a really nice room. They have this whole big backyard all to themselves, but they do my labor, or they provide something for me, or I'm just raising them to a young age where I can and then eat them. Like, is any of that fair?
No,
Right. Or
that's
what if I just raise them because I like to sell their hair for wigs, so I shave them every once in a while so I can sell their hair, and I steal
like
their
sheep.
poop?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I don't
Yeah.
eat them, but I'm still robbing them of their freedom, right? That's not
Mm-hmm.
fair.
No.
Yeah. So when you buy those chickens, you're demanding more of those individuals that we've bred to have a handicap. You're demanding more of them into existence. And let's
Yeah.
say you rescue chickens, and you wanted to still eat their eggs, because now you're not demanding chickens be born into existence, but you're still using the eggs. The issue is not really necessarily, is this egg moral to eat? It's more like, why do you still see what comes off of them as yours? You still see them as a resource instead of a someone, you know? If my neighbor took a
Yeah.
shit in his front yard, I'm not going to steal his poop to make fertilizer.
Yeah. Yeah. No.
And it's, like I said, again, that one egg is not necessarily the moral crux. It's just how you view them.
Mm, that's true.
Yeah.
It just feels like every action that anybody ever does has some sort of consequence behind it. Somebody wants to eat
Yeah.
meat, a bunch of chickens, they get slaughtered. I'm just gonna be honest, they get slaughtered. They get what you said, grind into meat.
Well, so what you can do is not demand it, and actually it makes a huge difference. You can save 100 to 300 animals a year. That's a lot. Can you imagine you standing in a crowd of 100 humans, okay?
Oh
even
God,
though
no.
even though you're in a, yeah, I know,
That's a
I
lot.
can't imagine either, but so you're in this group of humans. Even though you're a group of humans, each human, you are having your own experience, right? And whatever happens to you, let alone what happens to the group, what happens to you matters to you. So if you can save 100 to 300 individuals, that's 100 to 300 subjective experiences that don't have to be tortured or subjected to enslavement.
Yeah, to our own, like what you said, pleasure, to our own pleasure.
Yeah, it's huge. It's a big difference you can make.
Yeah, I really appreciate the talk. It was nice talking with you, but I actually have to go. So it was
Okay.
really nice. Thank you.
Well, definitely check out the documentary Dominion, okay?
I
It just
will.
shows
Thank
you
you.
what those labels mean. Okay, I appreciate you coming up.
Yeah, sure thing.
All right, bye. I appreciate open-minded people. It's a paradox. Yeah, but wouldn't it be preferable if we didn't have to do it? Hey,
Hey,
Bob.
how are you?
Hey, are you over 18?
Yes, I am.
Okay, good. And then should you respect consent?
Yes.
Okay. And then does lack of consent equal consent?
No,
Okay, cool.
I don't think so.
So, how do you feel about the animals we use and the questions I just presented?
Yeah, so I differ strongly from your point of view, and we have totally opposite ethical systems. So when I
I
hear you
doubt that.
talk, it really disturbs me.
Oh, okay.
Like,
Are you up here to just be a troll?
no, I'm being genuine. Like,
Oh, okay.
seriously.
Okay, so then,
Like what you say
no,
really
I'll have a
disturbs me.
genuine conversation with you. So, what is it that makes animals different? Why should we not respect their consent?
Yeah, but So the thing is with animals, they consume other life. So therefore, they're guilty of doing to others what we do to them, right? If a chicken doesn't eat, you had the chicken example. If a chicken doesn't eat the life of insects or something else, then it will
So,
pass away.
so why don't we, if these animals are so evil, why don't we just stop force breeding them?
I don't know, but my point is we should have respect for the plants.
You
The
don't
plants are
know?
innocent.
Wait, you really? Oh, Bob, the innocent
The
plant man. Okay,
the
I
the
remember you now. I remember. That's okay. I don't want to talk to someone who's talking about innocence because, again, I'm going to say it again. Humans are the least innocent. We have moral agency and still we do wrong. So why don't we just eat humans? There's so many of us. We spread disease, cut down our numbers. We could empty out our prisons. You know why we don't do that? Because we recognize that even all people are sentient and we should respect that at minimum. And it doesn't mean that it always happens, but most understandable people recognize human rights. Animals don't wear clothes, that's why they get exploited. That makes total sense. How do you know? How do you know that animals taste better? Humans were actually called long pig. You don't know. We could taste really good. There's no such thing as consent. Oh, that is scary, Ray. That means anyone can do what they want to you. Are you prepared for that? That's a big consequence. So I agree. How do you ask an animal for consent? You can't, not reliably, right? Just like a child. A child may be able to say the words, I consent to getting married. That doesn't mean they understand what marriage is, right? They can't consent to that truly. They can just say the words. So maybe an animal looks like they're consenting to something, but that doesn't mean they understand that they're saying, yes, I want to give up my life, or yes, I want you to take my baby. Yes, I want you to impregnate me. They don't like, so because we can't reliably get consent, should we just do what we want to someone's body? Of course not. That's not okay. And just because animals eat each other, they're moral patients. They don't understand what morality is. We do. That means we have a responsibility to act on that. If we do something wrong, we should change, right? We shouldn't keep doing the wrong thing. We should try to do right. That's why we have that moral compass. We ourselves want to be respected. We want our autonomy and our capacities to suffer to be respected. That means you have a moral obligation to have that same respect for other beings that are also having their own subjective experience. I'll allow it. Mm-hmm. I'm undervalued. I mean, maybe I've spoken low about the animals. I think that animals are much smarter than we actually give them credit for. Cows are considered like the similar cognition of like a 2 or 3 year old. Pigs are similar to like a 4 year old. They're like one of the smartest animals, the fourth smartest animal on the planet, I believe. Chickens are also super intelligent. I believe they can recognize like up to 100 faces, chicken and human. They have friends. They purr like cats when you cuddle them. Animals are much smarter than we give them credit for. Yeah, but again, it's funny because so the reason why you're dumbing down the animals is because you benefit from their oppression. Like if you saw dogs being chopped up for a meal, you would think that's wrong, I'm sure, because you have had relationships or seen other people having relationships with dogs and see they don't want to be unalived and they, each have their own personalities and want to live. So do the animals we use. Exactly. So that's what everyone says when they consume animal products. If animals can't say no, then it's a yes. That's what you're saying. You can survive off of plants. I actually have resources. So nutritionfacts.org is a great resource. They actually make videos about the studies that talk about what makes something healthy. Like, why is something called healthy? Compared to what? What does healthy mean? Longevity? Having just big muscles? What does health mean, right? And they also have what's called the Dailey Dozen. So you have an easy checklist on, what to get in a day if you're going to go on a plant-based diet and you're worried about cost and getting all your needed nutrition. Super easy. He actually just made a video about it too. If you go on YouTube and you type in vegan Dailey Dozen, you'll see a recent video that they made about it. How can you respect someone while stealing their life or stealing things from them, like their body, their babies, their fluids? How do you respect someone? By using them without their consent for your pleasure. Animal-free products are actually cheaper than you think. You should trust medical professionals. I would go look up dietitians, go ask dietitians, can I go vegan and be healthy? And they're going to say yes. Plants are not sentient. Plants, did you get consent from plants? Plants don't have a brain or a central nervous system. They don't want. They just exist. They're alive, but they're not sentient. Plants taste great. Yes, plant-based products are cheaper. If you do a whole food plant-based diet, the rice, the beans, the fresh fruits and vegetables that are in season, the frozen fruits and vegetables, the canned fruits and vegetables. Like, these are the cheapest things in the store. Thank you, Big Nate. Consent is paramount. It's very important. Lori. Hey, Lori.
What
How's it
what happened?
going? Oh, I don't know. It
All
took a
right.
second for you to load in, but you're in now.
Oh, it was like a high pitched sound. Weird.
Oh,
I'm doing good.
I wonder if you were hearing the beep. Maybe it was beeping out some random word or something.
Maybe, yeah. That might have been what it was.
I
Yeah,
have
because I couldn't hear it last time.
I've replayed the TikTok version of the live, and it does bleep out random words. Like, it bleeped out the word clicking, like I'm clicking
Uh,
my mouse. It bleeped that word out
right.
for some reason.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
That's weird.
yeah, it's
I
okay
didn't
though.
know that was going
Whatever.
on now with it.
Yeah, I don't know if everyone has it. I think a few people maybe agreed to it, and I can't figure out how to turn it off. I think it's permanent.
Oh, right. Got it.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's okay though. Whatever. Am I coming in okay, or am I too loud?
Oh, no, you're fine.
Okay,
You
cool,
sound great. Great right now.
cool.
Yeah.
I've been messing with the settings. I'm also not blinking in and out anymore. I don't know
Oh,
if you.
yeah. I remember that. I
Yeah,
remember that. That was so weird.
yeah. It's because I had two different green screen.
Yeah,
Um, yeah.
your green screen's different.
Oops.
With this background, it like takes like your whole body, where the other one doesn't do that.
Yeah, that's nice. Do you know how many animals are killed while plants are harvested? Well, unalive. Sorry. Yeah. So
Right.
any. Go ahead,
Oh,
Laura. You can take over, or
oh,
you can say something. I've been
I was
talking
just
this
gonna
whole time.
say it's about seven billion a year that we unalive crop animals, but that's nowhere near the 93 billion that we murder or sorry unalive every year. You know,
Yeah. I
for the
actually
food.
looked up that 7 billion because I've heard other people quote me that. And even that study that says the 7 billion, they're saying that they're guesstimating because there's just
Right.
no way
Yeah.
to actually keep track.
Right.
And they're saying that they're even like going to like they're overestimating on purpose. But
Right.
even like you say, even if we take that number, it still pales in comparison to 92.2 billion.
Oh
So,
yeah, exactly.
yeah. Yeah.
And that can be resolved, with
Exactly.
better ways to keep these, animals out.
Yep. Insects included.
Yeah, included, right.
Yep. Yeah, we can remove crop deaths from crops, but we can't remove the exploitation from animal ag or the oppression. Like it's inherent, it's necessary in the animal products. Whereas it would be an improvement if we could totally stop all crop deaths, that would make crops better. Are we being nice to bugs? No, I don't think we're being nice to them. But it starts one person at a time, right? It takes someone talking to those that are in charge, or someone being in charge that now understands, hey, all these individuals are experiencing life in pain. I don't want to, we shouldn't infringe on that. We should try to find solutions that don't take away life or cause suffering first. Like building walls around our crops, or, greenhouses, or enriching the environments around our farms so that maybe those animals and critters stay out. They prefer their own environment. There's a lot of options. Everything. I'm talking everything, but it starts with a mindset change. We have to, as a group of people, or, as a civilization, we have to decide what's moral and what's not. Do we think taking life arbitrarily is moral? Should we strive to not cause harm? Should we see an injustice and make change? Just because we can't fix everything doesn't mean we shouldn't try to do what we can. We should, for the animals, it's literally straightforward. Your demand is putting another animal through the system. Duck the question? What question did I duck? It doesn't matter if I've worked on a farm. Also, you guys can request up. You just got to be over 18. Yes, I said including bugs. Even no religion justifies violating someone's bodily autonomy or using them without their consent. Your political perspective has nothing to do with veganism. I'm talking about how you view animals. You view them as a resource, or do you view them as a sentient being that should be left alone? It includes bugs. I'm pretty sure the Garden of Eden in the Bible says that God would prefer a vegan planet. Since the Garden of Eden was vegan and you weren't allowed to use animals until sin entered the world. Shouldn't you be trying to live like God's perfect creation? That's what God would prefer. Again, your political perspective has nothing to do with veganism. There are socialist vegans. There are MAGA vegans. There's vegans of all colors, all swaths, all types. It doesn't take that. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was going to say exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. It's about just having empathy for a fellow sentient being and going, hey, if I were in your situation, I wouldn't want to be violated. I would want my inherent rights respected.
Right.
Yeah.
It's not that difficult.
No. I have a request.
It's hypocritical.
They're all hypocritical.
Funny, I don't know. I don't know if that's towards us or somebody else.
I think that person is just blasting in the chat because they've been saying something about bugs for a while, and they said that I was lying about including bugs. I'm gonna bring up Ben. Yeah, but Sony won't come up though. It's like you got all this to say.
Well, I hope Ben's not a kid.
Yeah. How old are you, Ben?
Hello. Testing.
Hey, are you over
You hear-
18?
Yes, I'm 25.
Right on. Cool. Should you
Okay.
respect consent?
Well, of course, but can I ask a question?
One more. I got one more question for you, and then I'll let you ask.
Okay.
Does lack of consent, so someone not being able to respond or maybe doesn't understand, does lack of consent equal consent?
Does lack of consent equal consent with someone?
If you want
No.
to,
Wait, no? Hold on, wait a minute. Say that one more time. Sorry.
okay, so I heard you clarify with someone, so it sounds like you do agree about this with humans at least, right?
Oh, yes, with humans, absolutely,
Okay,
of course.
so
Of
you
course.
agree that lack of consent does not equal consent.
Well, yeah, just because you can't like consent to something, but that doesn't mean it's like obviously animals don't have that, you know. Well, I
Okay,
mean, to a
so
degree, I
since
think
you agree
dolphins
with
they
humans,
confirm
what is it that you think is so different about the animals?
well, they're animals. I mean, it's
Okay, but no two
um,
humans are the same, right? Or is every human the same
well,
intellect?
well, no, but of
Okay.
course, like they're a species, though.
Are all humans exactly the same? Or are some born with maybe missing body parts? Or they have
Well, of
maybe
course.
extra body parts? Okay.
Well, yeah, that happens
So
occasionally,
so
especially when you
it
get to
doesn't
this
matter,
large of a population.
right? So it doesn't matter what they look like. Doesn't matter how intelligent they are, right?
Well, no.
Okay, so what is it in humans that we respect so much?
Well, that we can. I mean, it's kind of like. Wait, are we talking about humans or animals? I'm a little
Right
confused now.
now,
Sorry.
I was sticking with humans just because it sounds
Um,
like you're more comfortable with focusing on humans.
well, can I ask the question about the bug specifically? Because like as if we
So I
focus on
don't
like
care
smaller
so I'll tell you
organisms.
why real quick why it doesn't matter about the bugs because using animals uses more plants. So if you're worried about insecticides or crop deaths, using animals is compounding that issue. Animals eat more crops than humans do.
Well, I wasn't really referring to that. What I'm
So
referring
why
to
do
is
you
that you
care about
said,
bugs? What about the pigs, chickens, cows? What justifies you using them?
well, of course I care. We all care about them. No one wants to see an animal suffer.
So
I mean, I
what
think everyone in
justifies
the
you
chat can agree
using
on
them?
that. No one wants to see an animal suffer.
What justifies you using them?
Well, because I mean, basically simple. They're an animal, and we can own them or raise
So
them.
right
Or
makes might makes right.
Mike makes right.
Might, might,
Sorry, I'm bad hearing.
might makes right.
I'm not familiar with that expression.
Okay, so that
Yeah.
means do you agree that someone who's bigger and stronger than you, or someone in general that can dominate you, do you think it's moral for them to dominate you because they can? Or should they respect the fact that you're your own person?
Well, that's kind of nature, isn't it? I mean, we see
I'm asking
wolves
you what
attack
you
other
think.
animals.
I'm asking you what you think if
Well,
someone was bigger and
don't.
stronger.
I
Yes.
personally would not. I consider myself a bigger guy, I guess, but
So if
I'm not here picking on the little guy.
someone came along and wanted to do what they wanted to you, and they could, would that be moral for them to do so because they can?
Well, no,
Right.
but animals aren't.
Because you're your own
Animals don't have
person.
a moral compass.
So can I do
You
what I
think
want to
wolves
animals?
think, oh, that's a baby elk. I shouldn't eat it.
Can I do what I want to animals? Can I grape animals? Can't hear you. Your mute button's right there.
On. There we go. Well,
Can I do what I want to animals? Can I grape them?
well, I hope you're. Oh, I hope you're not
Can I grape
graping
them? Yes or
them.
no?
Yeah. No, I hope you're
Why
not.
is it
No, no.
immoral for me to grape animals?
Because who would want to do that to a?
It's funny that you can't answer this.
No, I'm just
It
kind
should be
of
first thing
on
out of
why
your
you
mouth. First thing should be because the animal is suffering, right? I'm causing that animal unnecessary suffering, and I don't have consent to do what I want to them.
I think you're taking a very drastic.
Do you want to have a conversation? Or are you going to start going meta on the conversation? I want to talk about the animals, not the conversation. Is it moral for me to grape animals for my pleasure because I can dominate them.
Well,
Is it moral, yes or no?
no. And I'm
Okay.
pretty sure
So
farmers do not
isn't
rape their
removing
animals.
Oh, buddy, you should look up how milk is made. You should look up Dairy is Scary. It's a
I'm on
10-minute
6th-generation farm.
It's a 10-minute documentary, and just because you grew up on a dairy farm means diddly squat, because most
Is a
farmers
dairy-
don't even know.
Quit putting words.
They don't even know what goes on in the farm. So the female cow is a mammal and must be pregnant. So often she's graped either by a cow or by a human. The farmer puts on a giant glove all the way up to his shoulder, enters the cow through the back in the bum, grabs her through the lining of her colon, holds her cervix in place. Earlier, they had to rub down a cow, a male bull cow. Either they put buzzies in his bum or they do it by hand, and they collect semen. And then they spurt that while they're holding her cervix in place, they spurt that in her hoo-ha. And after a 9 months pregnancy, they steal her baby so that you can have milk. How is that not grape? If you put a human in place of that cow, we would call that grape. Why are we fiddling around in cows' bits? And on top of it, the point that I was trying to make is that you don't, when I say like, why can't I grape animals? I'm telling you that you already demand it, right? You literally are either that, or you're pinning the cow down so she can't escape, or you're picking out the males for her, because the farmer decides who the cow gets pregnant by and when. And then the baby is taken for dairy. That is how dairy works, Ben. I don't care if that's not your farm. That is literally 90% of dairy, and you can go look it up. Yes, they are. They are absolutely graped. Cows are graped. If you could talk to a cow and say, hey, we're going to take your baby so we can have the milk, do you think they would say yes? Maybe go look up the footage on how they make dairy. Why does a cow produce milk? Do you think it's just magic? Do you think cows just eat grass and turn it into milk? If you do, that's why I say it doesn't matter that you're on a farm, because you clearly don't know what has to happen. Yes, she has. Go ahead.
No, I was saying he took off.
He's still in the chat. He just keeps saying that I don't know what I'm talking about.
Oh, why can't he stay up here and say it to you?
It's true, yeah. Didn't you have time on a dairy farm? Or was it your grandparents?
Yeah, it was, well, not dairy, but there was a dairy one next. It was just basic farm. He didn't like grow, have animals to unalive them. We had animals, but nothing like that.
Yeah. Yeah, I've had multiple people come up that say that they work in a dairy farm itself, but because they only work in like one spot, they don't really know the whole process.
Yeah.
And the farmers that are honest that they use artificial insemination tell me they do it out of compassion, because, as I've said many times, male cows are heavy and aggressive, and they can harm the cows.
Oh yeah. Right. When they can't, with fattening up the females, they can't even really do it.
Yeah.
Just like with male turkeys,
Yeah. Yeah, the male. Oh my gosh. For everyone that uses turkeys, go look up Dirty Jobs with Mike Rowe. He goes to a turkey farm. He is not vegan, by the way, at all, okay? So this is not a vegan propaganda video. He goes and does dirty jobs. He goes onto a turkey farm and shows how they get the male turkeys off because they can't mate. It's literally a man with a straw and his thumb. It's things of nightmares. And they turn these male turkeys upside down, get them off, collect the semen, and then they got to do the same thing to the females. They turn them upside down. in there it goes, and then they got to massage a little bit, make sure they get preggers.
Yeah.
Gross. So gross. Those are people's jobs, and you're demanding those people be employed to do that job.
Ben wants to come back up.
Yeah, I don't know if I can. If you want to talk to him,
Oh,
you can.
it's
I
no.
just,
It's really fine.
I just feel kind of done with him because I don't know. I don't want to talk to someone who's gonna be disingenuous. Like
Right.
someone who's saying that animals don't matter, but can't
Right.
really explain why graping an animal is wrong. Because he was saying that I shouldn't grape a dog, but he couldn't really figure out why. It was just wrong. And I said, it's not because they suffer.
Right.
And he's like, you don't, graping and using animals are not the same thing. It's like dairy, procreation of any of the farm animals we use, all usually done through grape because it's the most successful.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And, a lot of times the farmers don't even have their own male cows. They have to go out and pay for it, They're
Yeah,
looking for
someone
a
is
certain
like,
type of.
there's like a pimp to bulls, right?
Yeah.
People pimp out
Right.
their bull. I don't know if that word is acceptable or not. Yeah, that's insane.
I didn't hear him beat, but yeah, I mean, it's the same, with horses and everything else. Dog, everything else is.
So
It's
gross.
Just, yeah, they do that. It's
Terrible. Yeah.
yeah, because a lot of them don't want to feed or take care of a male, cow, just
Right.
for once every so many months.
Exactly. Like they have to have the right genes that make enough money, right? Nobody keeps the bull
Right.
for a pet. I mean, some people genuinely care about them and may actually have like a sanctuary setting, but that's not very common. It's typically to make money. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, Kate, Ben Bradbury, if you genuinely have some kind of gotcha moment or some kind of mind blowing fact, you can leave it in the chat. Because right now I don't trust you. I think that you're just a troll. So if you can prove to me that you're genuinely trying to like educate or share information, I'd love to see it in the chat first. I just don't think you understand what you're saying. You're saying it's okay for us to make an animal pregnant, even just setting up the situation where two individuals are going to mate and you're going to benefit from whatever comes out. That's wrong. You shouldn't be the one toying in those relationships. Those animals shouldn't be in existence. I don't care what your degree is. You have to make some logical sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Congratulations. Still doesn't justify why you're using animals and why it's okay to put your hands in them. I'm going to bring up Kitty Man.
Okie dokie.
Yo.
Hey, are you over 18?
Yeah, I'm 20.
Oof, that is a hard no. Hey, Cusco. I think this is Cusco. I was talking to them the other day. Hey,
Hey, what's going on?
this is Cusco, right? I was talking to you before. Is it
Yeah,
last time?
we've
Yeah, I
had
thought
some.
so.
We had a conversation before.
So how's it going? Are you vegan yet?
Unfortunately, no. No, I'm not.
And what's stopping you now?
Well, today it's just a long day at work, but
Are
hey,
you
I just
like?
wanted to come up.
So I want to make sure. Are you like messing with me, or like the long haul messing with me, or are you like genuinely trying to go vegan? Because it shouldn't take. It's about what you want to do.
No, yeah, I mean, look, as we talked about it last time. I mean, I've gone through periods where I've kind of like reset my palate either for health reasons or just for,
So do you care about animals?
various. Yeah, I think I care about animals.
Do you want to keep demanding that animals be used and violated?
No, I mean, like we said
Okay.
before, I'm anti-factory farming. I'm
Yeah,
very anti.
but like every time you pick up a package, doesn't matter what label it has on it, you're still demanding someone's exploitation.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you have a point there. Hey, the reason I came up though is because I wanted to ask you a question. I think we had a pretty good conversation last time, and I kind of wanted to maybe not continue the conversation necessarily, but I just wanted some kind of clarifying points. Look, before we start, we agreed last time that I think we're coming at this from different perspectives. I think you're coming at it from,
I,
you
I,
know,
I don't know. I'm getting a little concerned that you're gonna try to debate bro me right now. It's pretty simple. If you think that someone walking down the street kicking a dog should stop, go kick something else. That's all it comes down to. And then you just need to make the change. Otherwise, you're just trying to justify oppression. You're still not seeing the animals as deserving of their own autonomy and freedom.
okay. I mean, it's fair enough. Yeah. I mean, I get where you're coming from. You know what I
Okay.
mean? Like, my question to you would be: where does it where does it stop? Is it?
Sentience. Someone's capacity to suffer. That's all it is. If
Yeah,
someone wants to be free, don't use them.
I gotcha. I gotcha. So, but like what I'm asking is not necessarily harvesting for food, right? I can agree.
See, you're still
I
seeing
could be
them as a
swayed.
resource. Why don't you
No,
see
no, no.
humans as a resource? Why don't you see someone with like really long hair and think, it's not going to hurt them if I just take that hair. I could sell that for a wig.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I don't know that that would
Right. It
kind of
wouldn't be, even though you're
equate.
not going to hurt me, you're still violating my autonomy. You're ignoring my consent if you were to take my hair. Just like
So,
you're imagining maybe taking eggs from a chicken or something.
do you think that like animals that are in like protected areas, right? That are in like sanctuary areas, specifically like I'm in marine biology, right? In like marine protected areas, a lot of the times they'll have ecotourism to fund areas like that. Um,
Yes.
but ecotourism can still put stress on these animals, right?
I think
Do you think that should be?
if we're concerned about the environment, we should eliminate animal ag immediately. That's where we have the most power. And instead of focusing on these tiny little issues of invasive species, we should focus on the bigger issue of being able to reuse land equivalent of the North America and South America continents put together. We could
I
save
don't.
all that land. So if you're worried about environment, that should be your first step. Eliminate animal agriculture and then worry about getting into the muck of these relations of ecosystems. Because right now, animal ag is the top reason that we're losing biodiversity. We wipe
That's
out
true.
so much
That
for
is
them.
true.
Yeah, even the small local farms, they actually take more resources to raise their animals. Did you know that? The animals
I
grow
did know that.
slower. Okay, so using animals at all is going against your principles both for the environment and for the animals.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I agree completely. I think that there's a lot of wasted resources, water, crops that go into big farming and cattle
Well,
farming
again,
and things like that.
even small farms, we just agreed. It doesn't
Yeah,
matter
yeah,
if
yeah.
it's,
No,
if
that's yeah.
anything, those big farms are actually reducing, like I just said, their resource use, their footprint. They use less land, they use less water, less food because the animals get to slaughter weight faster, less greenhouse gases.
Yeah, I get where you're coming from, and I don't necessarily even totally disagree with you. I think that, realistically, I probably could be persuaded to go vegan, but the problem is it realistic for everyone? That's my question to you,
So
right?
wait, so let me get this straight. If you were in the era of slavery, you would be pro-slavery unless everyone else stopped being pro-slavery?
No, how'd you get that from what I just said?
Because slavery is similar in the sense that a sentient being was robbed of their rights and was objectified. And they still, that oppression benefited those that weren't enslaved, right? It brought down the price of goods, made goods more widely available, right? Poor people were having more access to things because of that free labor, but that didn't justify stealing someone's freedom.
Gotcha. Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Is
So,
like
so you're
I
saying,
get what you're
so
saying.
what my point is though, you were saying because everyone else, because I can't change everyone all at once, you're not going to make better choices?
Again, I don't think I make like bad choices, right? I feel
Would you,
like
okay, you know what
on a
happens to
personal
animals.
level,
You know what you're doing. So therefore it is a bad choice because you're a moral agent who knows what's right and wrong. You agree that using animals is wrong. Therefore you're still, even though you know you should do better, still doing wrong. That makes you worse than those that are blind. You can make a difference. And also by living by
right,
example, right? Those people that are blind are going to see you existing.
right. So the problem is last time we established that I don't shop for meat. I harvest all my meat
I
from.
mean,
I live
even
on the coast.
if people see you using animals in any fashion, they're going to also want to use animals. It's a principled thing, and you're also living through example. People are
Well,
watching
what
you.
would you rather have? What would you rather have happen? Right? Say people are going to use animals, right? Regardless, I understand that your position is that it shouldn't happen at all, but say that people are. Would you rather it be supporting the factory farming and the small farms and just buying their meat at a store or from a local butcher or whatever? Or would you rather it be harvested safely and
Would I
effectively to where
rather,
population numbers can be
let me
sustained from the
reframe it.
wild?
Let me reframe it. Would I rather Jeffrey Dahmer have tortured his victims or just taken them out immediately?
I mean, either way, I think the lesser of two evils is pretty
Answer my
clear.
question then. Which would you rather? Would
The
you rather.
second, the second option.
Exactly. But aren't both wrong?
I mean, on some
Shouldn't
level,
Jeffrey
yes.
Dahmer have abstained from doing that at all? Your options are
Yeah,
this. This is
good point.
your options. You can pay for conventional abused animals, excuse me. You can pay for humanely raised and unalived animals, or you can not pay for their objectification, their exploitation and oppression. Which of those three would you rather?
I mean, look, if you put it black and white like that, obviously the answer is the
Right. That's what your
third
options are
option.
available right now. It's either buying conventional flesh, buying humanely raised flesh, whatever those labels mean, which you should watch Dominion to know what those means. I know you said you don't buy flesh in there, but for everyone else.
I
Or,
did check out those
Labels
websites you
don't
gave
mean
me.
anything.
what'd you say, Lori?
I,
I was saying those labels don't mean anything. It's just
Yeah. Marketing
it's just
ploy.
I
marketing
will
ploy.
say, I checked out the websites you told me to look up. They were very interesting. So thank you for giving me those websites.
Okay, good.
Dominionmovement.com was pretty interesting. So
Yeah, that documentary
just
shows you what all those labels mean. But I believe
yeah.
you said you only eat seafood, right?
Uh, yeah. I
Oh,
mean,
and chicken.
from time to time, yeah, I'll buy some chicken, but that's it.
Okay, yeah. So did you watch the part that happens to the chickens?
Yeah, I don't recall it. I mean, I have it right here. I can pull it up real quick. I watched it a while ago. But yeah, I
So
did watch it.
So even the organic chickens are still raised in sheds. They
Yeah,
often
yeah,
have
yeah, yeah, yeah.
ammonia burned bellies. A lot of these farmers, even because it is a marketing ploy, they'll have two different sheds. They'll have one that's humane or whatever, and then they'll have another that's conventional. It's it's just purely a marketing ploy. It does nothing for the animals. They're still abused terribly. There's just no right way to exploit them. And in addition to the seafood, have you watched maybe the documentary Seaspiracy?
It rings a bell, but I don't think I've ever actually watched it.
You should check that one out too. I mean, I don't really want to ruin it too much, but they talk about more about the numbers of the fish. They do talk about some of the sentience, but it is sadly a little more of an environmental movie. But it's going to bother you to support the fishing industry. So definitely check. It's not a gotcha film. It's more like they're showing you what is being hidden from us for fishing, both to
Oh
humans
yeah,
and
well I mean yeah,
animals.
I personally have done work trying to reform the fishing industry. It's
Oh, so why do you
very
support it then?
it was very unsustainable. Again, I don't. I catch my own fish.
So you just So you live purely off of fishing and eating a chicken from the grocery store every once in a while?
Yeah, well, I mean, I buy plants from the grocery store, but yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I'll go.
Okay.
I go at least once a week. I limit out, and then you know, every other week or so, we'll go out and spearfish and get, a bigger fish.
Why don't
But
you
yeah,
like
pretty much.
spear? Why don't you spear dogs and cats or other?
Because to me, I understand that your position is that they're all the same. To me, I don't consider them equal. I consider dogs and cats to have domesticated themselves and become and have relationships with humans, with me, that are different than
Yeah.
fish.
Well, I
Any
think
animal can do that.
yeah.
Any animal can do that. Not just cats and dogs. If you
No,
treat
I
them
agree.
right,
I agree. I
every
think
animal can do that.
pigs is a great example. I think pigs are highly intelligent, highly emotional.
I mean, fish are
That's
too,
why I
though.
don't
Yeah.
eat.
Fish use tools. They have friends, hierarchies. In fact,
Do
there's
fish use tools?
yeah, some of them do, yeah. And
What
there's
species?
I don't know off the top of my head. That's not one I memorized. But if
Because
you
there
look them
isn't
up,
one.
okay, well, give me a
I
second. I'll
mean,
pull it up.
marine mammals use tools, and there are fish that definitely have
Well,
roles like cleaner wrasses and things at cleaning stations.
No, there's like
Um,
fish that make like the art in the sand for their mates and like grab
oh,
sticks and
okay.
stuff.
yeah.
I get what you're saying. Okay,
Yeah,
yeah,
those are
for like
tools.
mating
They
Well, I
rituals.
mean,
Yeah, I
they're
guess
paragraph.
still, the
you
point
could argue
is
that.
they're still using tools. That takes intelligence. That takes recognizing your environments. That means picking out a spot, making choices, right? Making preferences. That's what sentience is.
Fair enough. It's a
Yeah.
decent point.
So look up, there's a lot of studies actually on zebrafish that look into specifically,
Zebrafish, yeah.
yeah, zebrafish. And that they absolutely show us, all fish actually have
We use
no,
zebrafish a lot in the lab.
yeah. Yeah, because
Yeah,
they
we
have
use
a
them.
lot of relatable things about them, I guess. I did
A
see
lot
that
of
they're one of the
relatable
most
traits to
studied.
humans.
Yeah, and they're
They
also,
are.
yeah, they're one of the most studied animals, which is interesting. But
They
so
have
the
they have
fact,
a very short reproductive cycle. They're very
so
interesting fish.
yeah. But the fact that all fish have these nociceptors, the fact that they want
Hmm.
to avoid suffering and pain, that's enough. We don't need to cause them suffering. You can just eat plants. There's even ways to make plant foods taste like fish if it's just a taste pleasure thing.
Yeah, yeah. There is at the hatchery where I work, we're working on sustainable growth of seaweeds and seagrasses for human consumption.
So you're growing the fish?
Well, I don't work there, but it's part of where I work at.
Oh,
But
okay.
I don't work in the hatchery.
Okay, because these fish that are farmed, you should watch Seaspiracy. They talk a lot about them. They look like zombies.
Yeah, it is interesting. I've obviously it's I've been there a couple of times. It's interesting to see
They also highly
sort of the life
pollute the
histories.
waters. They also highly pollute the waters because it's like this tiny little. I mean, to us it's huge, but to these fish that can travel large distances, they're just in this circle, going insane, and they just
Yeah,
poop. Their poop is just everywhere. They're just swimming in their crap.
yeah,
It's terrible.
yeah. I
And
have
I
seen
mean, on
that.
top of that, I know that you don't support. I guess you don't buy your seafood, but we're already taking trillions of fish out of the oceans. They take them out so fast, we can't even count the individual lives. They have to weigh them in tonnage. So I don't know.
Yeah,
And doing that, they take everything else with them, like other types of fish, other types of like stingrays.
I just mean that you're adding to it.
Yeah,
Yeah. Like, that all of that death and destruction is happening to our oceans, and then you're further ripping out life.
again, I just don't agree. Like I see where you're coming from.
Well,
I
why
just
don't
don't.
you
I
see
don't
that fish are
agree.
sentient?
I agree that fish are sent. The
Well,
level of
what makes it
sentience I would
okay?
dispute.
But what makes it okay to use them? Just that they're really, really stupid?
No, I think on some level it's natural. Fish,
Yeah,
they're
but
carnivores.
I could
Obviously,
say it's
we
natural.
evolved to be omnivores.
There's a lot of things that are
Um,
natural. Grape is natural. Unjust unaliving humans is natural. Something we've done a lot in nature. It doesn't make those things moral. It doesn't mean you need to keep doing it. I know you're on the right track. I don't want you to stop at fish. They're clearly sentient, you know. The line should be sentience. Who wants to avoid harm?
Yeah, it would
You
be
don't think
great
fish
in a
want to
perfect
avoid harm?
world.
You can do
No,
it.
I mean I do. They do.
You can
Obviously,
do it. It's
every
not, you don't
organism
need a
wants to
perfect
avoid
world
harm.
to stand against injustice.
I get you. Yeah, I see where you're coming from. I mean, look, I think you
If
make
you were the
good
if you were
points.
the victim, what would you want?
Probably, yeah. I mean,
You would want immediate action to stop using you, right?
yeah. I mean,
Yeah. Well, you're doing this to fish. You're oppressing. I know it sounds silly, but just because they can't fight back or tell you, I know they look alien. You know, they don't look like us. It makes it harder to relate with them. But taking them out of the water is like putting a dog underwater, right? Immoral. You don't need to do it. Watch
Right.
Seaspiracy. Watch Seaspiracy and then come back.
okay. Sounds like a plan. I will watch it. Thank you for
Okay.
having me on.
Yeah. Lori, did you want to add something?
Oh no, I was gonna say that Seaspiracy is a good one to watch. Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Hey, vegan stoner lady. I don't know. Is that how you'd like to be referred to? I don't know.
Yeah, sure, it's fine. Some people call me VSL.
VSL. I just wanted to say I think thanks for having me on. And I think that, we have good conversations. We've had a couple good conversations now. So
Yeah.
thanks.
Yeah.
And yeah, have a good one.
Yeah, you too. Thank you for coming up. Come up again and let us know where you're at.
All right. Sounds good.
Okay. Bye. Oh, I hit the wrong one, but whatever. Ben, you sat there this whole time? Wow.
Yeah, he's been here a long time.
Yeah, you could say octopus. I don't know how you say multiple octopus are alien. They do seem alien, but they are highly sentient. Actually, the Declaration of Consciousness, the New York Declaration of Consciousness goes over a ton of studies about why octopus and lobster are sentient. Yeah, if you were to be unalived in a natural way, I mean, there's nothing immoral about someone using your body, but it does show that those individuals saw you as a resource, which is weird. That's why we don't. Even if someone, a human, was to attack me and out of self-defense, I unalived them, I wouldn't think, oh, now I have an excuse to eat their body. Throw them on the spit. Here we go. Barbecue. I don't want to be up for very much longer. I was only going to do an hour. But Ben, you've been waiting so long. I'll bring you up for a little bit. Oh, he left. Okay, never mind, Ben. Off a wolf. Okay. All right, well then I'll just call it. Because I feel like I'm tired now. I was going to only do an hour.
Okay. Yeah, no problem.
But I will be live on Monday, 9 a.m. PDT. And
Okay.
yeah, Monday, 9 a.m. PDT. And I'll try to
Cool.
post this. I've been posting these on YouTube the next day. So
Right.
tomorrow, this will be on YouTube.
Oh, cool. All right.
Yeah.
Well, have a good weekend, girl.
Yeah,
See
you
Monday.
too. Yeah, you too.
Thank
I'll
you.
I'll see you Monday. And yeah.
All right. Okay,
Bye.
cool.
And all the
Bye.
vegans in the chat, thank you for being here. Appreciate all your support. Keeping everyone cool in the chat, and even my non-vegans. I appreciate you being there, asking questions, even just putting yourself in a position to hear something that you don't maybe agree with yet. But appreciate you being here. All right, everyone, have a great day. If you're not vegan, go vegan. I'll see you later. Bye.